Hey, what's up guys? It's week 125 and we're riding the high wave of the AppSumo deal. A quick reintroduction if you're new to my channel. I'm building a startup in public and documenting its journey to reach the goal of $1 million in annual recurring revenue. The app we're building is called Dropboard, and it's a platform for in-house hiring as well as for recruiters, aimed at making everyone's lives much easier, from the candidate that's applying to the job to the hiring managers who are working those candidates through the hiring process. Let's get into it. A quick personal update. Our family's had a great summer. Our oldest is going to middle school and our youngest is going to start pre-K. Really excited about that. Startup life plus family life aren't always easy things to juggle, but I think we're doing it right and keeping things sane. The AppSumo lifetime deal for Dropboard that ended in May grossed nearly $65,000 in revenue. The net on that is quite a bit lower, but the important thing is that Dropboard has now close to 350 new and financially invested users. The strategy we've been running with the AppSumo deal is to make these new customers absolutely thrilled with the product so that we can jumpstart organic growth and word of mouth sales. So the feedback on Dropboard has been unbelievably good. Turns out that we're definitely exceeding expectations and delivering on promises. And I have been heads down busy building all sorts of new features and improvements based on real world feedback from all these lovely folks. This is the kind of thing you can't plan for in product development. Surveys and customer interviews will only get you so far. You need people who've put money down and are trying to use your product to improve their business to give you the kind of feedback you really need to make it pop. As an example on that, we built our recruiter plan as a way for recruiters to bring their clients onto a platform where they can post jobs and move candidates through hiring workflows. Real world feedback made it clear that recruiters would do really well to offer different levels of service to their clients. So we created a way for recruiters to create plans for their clients that they could move them between those service levels. And looking into the future, we want those clients to be able to purchase those plans directly on Dropboard, and recruiters can use Dropboard to collect revenue from their clients. Before feedback, this would have all been kind of stabs in the dark, and by not overbuilding, we were able to create critical features while continuously honing our direction for the future. And most importantly, ensuring that the things we're building are things that customers are actually going to use. I absolutely cannot wait to get more eyes on Dropboard, because I think at this point, the product just totally speaks for itself. And if my founder specialties were in marketing, I'd definitely be moving to full throttle on that end of the business. But since they aren't, the best move I can make is to make these 350-ish users reach personal success with Dropboard. By doing that, I'm creating super happy evangelists while at the same time enriching the product with really needed features and filling gaps in the areas that would prevent adoption. I'll definitely be circling around to invest more time and money on the marketing side, but for the moment, I feel like the most effective foot forward is to nourish the growth that I already have. So I've been on a tear with launching features. Honestly, there's so much that I feel I would be either bragging or boring you with it. So I'll leave you to check out our public roadmap or our email newsletters for the details on that. I'll just say that the velocity of dev right now is higher than I maybe have ever experienced, and Dropboard as a result has become a radically improving product. The absolute #1 piece of feedback that I've received throughout this whole thing has been multi-language support. Nothing else has even come close to that. And translation capabilities for building software is notoriously difficult, especially for a team of one. Traditionally, it has required that every single spot in the code that has language be replaced with a variable, and then you store/extract that text from some kind of data store. That's a lot to deal with, especially when you're thinking about error messages or conditional or dynamic sentences. And the other thing is, to me, language is part of the design. When you remove language and instead have things like button label submit in its place, it really hampers the ability as you're developing to feel the software push back or address its needs to evolve. So at the outset of this whole thing, my position's always been, look, I have to make sacrifices as a startup to get this business up and thriving. I just can't take on the weight of multi-language support. It's just gonna have to come until later when we can hire it out. But this effort to streamline everything was really challenged by this feedback. And since Dropboard is a product for candidates all over the world to apply for jobs, it made it really hard to justify having an English-only app. So I asked the question, is this a table stakes feature? I think it is. So I bit the bullet and tasked myself to figure out how to accomplish these critical goals. Make Dropboard available in multiple languages, and keep the code rich with English text so we can maintain the ability to code quickly and feel the software when it pushes back. And I'm so happy to say that it's over and I did it. It was a big challenge, and I had a lot of confidence going into it, but there were many moments I was worried I was headed for disaster and would have to completely abort, losing weeks of time and work that could have been spent addressing other issues or improving the business. So please bear with me, I have to geek out on this a little bit. I have no coworkers to share this excitement with, and it's really so incredibly cool. Let me just get a little bit technical. Every time Dropboard shows something on the screen, it renders HTML for the end user. This could be as small as a little button being added to the page, or it could be a whole mess of user-face elements like a table of clickable jobs. Dropboard takes this HTML and runs it through an AI translation to generate the right text for the user's language, but here's the thing. AI translations often take 3 to 6 seconds, but they can easily go up to 45 or even 60 seconds. That means we can't live translate content because it would just make Dropboard unusable. Lots of app content is dynamic. This includes saying things like, you have 3 candidates, or other conditional statements that can stack up to create tons of permutations of a particular screen. This means we can't just cache the result of a translation and then reuse it, because we may generate so many unique translations that we're really effectively not caching at all. A similar problem is that the larger the HTML content we have, the more likely it's going to be made up of dynamic subsections, which again creates so many permutations that you're really not caching anything. Context is key for AI to do the job right. If we just blindly translated sentences or words into another language, it would be easy for the wrong choices to come through. Please forgive my pronunciation. I do not speak Spanish, but this is a really good example. Say we have the text add item. If AI blindly translated that, it might come out as añadir artículo, which translates to add article, which is misleading if this was like a to-do list or something. The correct translation would be añadir tarea, which translates to add task. Same thing with like clear all, which could easily get translated to clara to do. Claro means clear in the sense of understandable or light, which is not the correct usage. What we would want is borrar to do, which means erase or delete. If we translate the pure HTML instead of the various text parts, we also have to be really careful that AI doesn't mess up the HTML structure by adding elements or rewiring elements or changing attributes. In my experimentation, there were many times when the AI would add new tags or change things, and that would break functionality of the program, potentially in a very hazardous way. Another thing is that some languages will change the ordering of something. So for dynamic content like John Doe has applied to the office manager position, some languages may need to reorder those phrases, and with dynamic content, that's tricky. I'll stop here, but there are many more complications that are part of this. So I'm happy to say that Dropboard now has a seamless, exceptionally fast translation system. We support Spanish, French, Hindi, Polish, and Danish right now. It's very easy for us to add new languages, and the content across Dropboard gets translated automatically. There's still another phase for multi-language support, which is your job descriptions and your customizations being available in multiple languages for the content that you create. We're going to pause on that one, come back to it so we can tackle some other tasks. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for following me on this journey in my nerdish rant I just went on, and I can't wait to see you again in the next update. Bye.